Okay, welcome back, everybody. This is session 3 out of 4 of Hearts of Wulin in the Court of Crimson Blades, the political thriller, so it is designed to be, in which we take the core Hearts of Wulin game and turn it into a bunch of cloak and dagger, backstabbing, politicking tactics, and power plays. Lots of social dynamics involved in the mechanics. It's a good time. Let's go ahead and get started with player introductions and character introductions as well. I'm just going to go in the same order we always go. So Jason, take it away.
Yeah, I'm Jason. I use he, him pronouns. I'm playing Six Finger Lament, who also uses he, him pronouns. Six Finger Lament is a courtier, a high status courtier. He's an artisan and a musician, and he's having a rough time of it. His unrequited love gave him the cold shoulder at least once, maybe twice now. And Gentleman Bao-Yin spread the word that he was behind an assassination, wrongly accused of a crime he didn't commit. And then he was attacked by an 8-foot flaming demon and leaped out a window to save himself, and was again spotted and framed for the killing of a member of his faction. What's her name? Jade Serpent. So he's having a bad time.
Putting it lightly. Thank you. Let's go to Shane.
My name's Shane. I use she and her pronouns, and I'm playing Harmonious Ivory, who also uses she and her pronouns. Harmonious Ivory has spent the last many years as the trusted and devoted servant of Xin Ling. However, secretly, she has been plotting as part of a conspiracy against Xin Ling's family, and especially against his grandfather. And now is trying to somehow extricate herself from this complex situation she's gotten herself into, trapped between her love of Jinling and her obligations to Father Locust.
Yup, we're in too deep, guys. We gotta get out. Josh, let's go to you.
Of course. Hi, I'm Josh, he, him, his, and I'm playing Gentleman Bao-Yin, he, him, his. Bao-Yin is a traveling gallivant. He goes from town to town. He drinks, he sings, he paints beautiful calligraphy, and he sells it. And meanwhile, his troop of thieves follow close behind, and they rob everyone blind. And then they move on to the next town. Bao-Yin is in the capital because he needs to make money, and he's also laying low after robbing the tax collector Chow on the road. However, unfortunately, his laying low has not gone to plan because he's been caught into all of these machinations, and now he is in the royal palace stealing. What am I stealing? I forgot what I'm stealing.
It's like the reliquary. It's like an ossuary full of bones or something to that effect.
I'm stealing the reliquary. I believe I was actually just backstabbed by Harmonious Ivory in the process of stealing the reliquary. So that's where I'm at.
We're all very nice to each other here.
Yes.
All right, and Chase, last but not least.
Hello, I'm Chase. Any pronouns for me? I play Xin Ling, who is he, him pronouns, who is from a degraded part of the royal family, trying to been raised since birth to take the throne and regain power for his branch of the family. While working through the court, he tries to keep his brother out of trouble with his fascination with Gentleman Bao-Yin, who he has secret affections for, and that's my dogs. And while trying to get Jade Serpent on his side, found out that actually Jade Serpent is a demon, and trying to create a pact with him, but actually was not him, and instead his shadow, who's been raised alongside him as his essential doppelganger while he was following along Harmonious Ivory and Gentleman Bao-Yin to the reliquary and helping them sneak in.
And that is where we find Xin Ling, Harmonious Ivory, and Gentleman Bao-Yin at the beginning of this scene. I think that the three of you successfully made it in through Xin Ling's sort of waving of political power. And after a little bit of searching and a little bit of discussion, Gentleman Bao-Yin came upon the reliquary, which in theory, I think people were planning on presenting to General Wan Heng in an effort to curry favor so that this whole, oh, who murdered who business blows over. But it sounds like there is a conflict at play between Gentleman Bao-Yin and Harmonious Ivory. I believe, Harmonious Ivory, you said that you were trying to essentially bonk Bao-Yin on the head and take the reliquary.
That's right.
So there's not really I'm kind of gonna leave it to you guys to determine how you would like to resolve this. There's not really a move for ambush someone and take their stuff. So we could make this a PC versus PC duel, or you guys could just hand wave it however you want to do it.
I'm into it being a PC versus PC duel, if that works for you, Josh.
So I would like to make a suggestion, and that is that I advanced in between sessions, and I chose to select a move from the Outsider playbook called Royal Tramp. So I may attempt to escape a situation even when surprised. When you try to bolt roll, on a hit, I may get away. If I fail, I leave myself vulnerable, and now I'm well and thoroughly bonked. So that is my suggestion.
If you pick the move, yeah.
Yeah.
Roll with me. Where is our roll with me?
Oh,
it's in the chat.
I might have put that in after you joined or before you joined. There you go.
Okay, thank you.
And I keep thinking, now, Bao-Yin, you're okay, but a few of us, namely, I think Harmonious Ivory in particular, we're running low on elements that are unmarked. What do you want to roll with here, Bao-Yin?
Bao-Yin is going to roll with fire. This is a moment of creativity, speed, and passion as he senses that Harmonious Ivory is about to club him in the head, and he has to quickly, grapple and flee. And that is a 9.
You have a bond with Harmonious Ivory that you may spend to bump that to a 10.
I'll keep that as a 9. I'm happy with that being a 9.
All right, so choose a complication.
I will say that I end up in another dangerous situation.
Great. It says you may take another with you on a hit. Is there anyone you would like to whisk away with you, or is this just a solo mission?
You know who I'm gonna take with me? And this is a deep cut. I think that I'm going to take with me. Oh no. Okay, wait. I'm sorting through all of the tabs on this. I'm gonna take with me the naive little brother Han. I think that in my flight through the palace grounds, chased by first Harmonious Ivory and then the guards, I think Han sights me, and he is, of course, admires me dangerously. And I scoop him up, partly as a bargaining chip and partly to free him from this royal life.
Got it. I would like to hear how that looks. Like how does the actual escape happen? Do you narrowly duck out of the way and make a run for it with the reliquary, or do you say a one-liner as you kind of make your exit? I want to hear how that part looks.
Yeah. So I think that Harmonious Ivory tries to hit Bao-Yin in the head, right? And I think that Bao-Yin, he manages to sort of hear her coming, and he turns at the last moment, and he grabs Harmonious Ivory and he shoves her into one of the archival stacks in this room, and it topples over, and the guards from outside rush into the room, and Bao-Yin bolts. He flees. And Bao-Yin is a fast runner. He has great cardio strength from all of his traveling. And he runs, right? And I think there is the momentary distraction for the guards because there are all of these, royal relics that are currently in a heap on the ground. And yeah, so Bao-Yin is running just at full tilt through the palace. He's tearing, jumping through windows, running through the courtyard, making a mess. And Han is there in the courtyard with a tutor. Late, they're studying the stars, and Han sees Bao-Yin. He's like, Bao-Yin? And Bao-Yin is like, Han? And then the guards are there chasing behind them. And Bao-Yin grabs Han's hand and he just takes off again, right out the gates of the palace, somewhere into the Undercity.
And so as a result, you have gotten Han involved in a life of crime.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Or
right.
I don't know, maybe I'll get caught in 20 minutes and Han will be returned to the palace.
Yes, maybe he still has some hope left for him.
Maybe.
We'll find out. So I guess I want to go to Xin Ling and Harmonious Ivory at this point. Bao-Yin has escaped. And there are two guards who have just heard a crash. They've run in. They're looking at Xin Ling. Your Highness, is everything okay?
I look over to Ivory and I'm like confused as to why she attacked Gentleman Bao-Yin. And I look back to the guards and I'm like, I need you to find Gentleman Bao-Yin immediately. And I like wave them all.
Right away, and they take off, and there's about to be an alarm that's collectively set up throughout the city. Is there something that you say about why you need to find Bao-Yin, or do you simply
Absolutely not.
Okay, just we need to get him.
No.
Okay, and Harmonious Ivory, how about you?
I mean, I think that I want to maybe try and figure out if I know where Bao-Yin might have gone, either because, I've been around him enough to figure it out, or because I can kind of tell from the way that he took off where he's going. Can I roll study for that?
I think study feels good, sure.
All right. As you say, I am getting low on elements, so...
Comfort and support are the main ways by which people can eliminate marked elements, but...
Yeah, I was just thinking about that, but it just doesn't seem like Harmonious Ivory's style to comfort or support someone.
Well, someone has to comfort or support Harmonious Ivory, I want to say.
Right.
If I understand that correctly, yes.
I think you can you can narrate like a little scene in between, or a little montage in between scenes, I think, and you can get an element back too, if I remember correctly.
That is true.
For right now, I am going to roll with metal for control, calculation, and reflection. So that's +1. It's an 8.
Right.
So what's an 8 for study?
You get 1 hold plus 1 of your questions from your study move that you took for your character.
Well, yeah, that's true. Okay, so I get basic information, I get 1 hold. So, I mean, the question that I want to ask is where do I think Bao-Yin would have gone?
Bao-Yin?
Yeah, Bao-Yin is laying low right now. He is meeting with his 8 men, his invincible 8, because they need to figure out a way to fence this reliquary. gets them all killed. So I think that they're probably like in an attic somewhere, just like holed up, making plans.
Is this often kind of like a sort of a slummy sort of
Yes,
part of the
definitely.
city?
We're in
Okay,
a
so
bad part of town.
okay.
It's the first time Han has ever seen pores up close.
Well, I think that Josh has already answered my playbook move, which is like playbook extra question, which is what sort of trouble are you looking to cause? You're gonna try and fence the reliquary. So I think that rather than face Xin Ling's questions, Harmonious Ivory will burst into tears at this point. Like the contrived tears of someone who doesn't want to have to answer questions.
I think when Xin Ling sees Harmonious Ivory burst into tears, the first thing that comes to mind is confusion, because she's definitely the one who attacked him first. But then Xin Ling wonders, was Gentleman Bao-Yin trying to make a move on her? And now he's like, I have to make sure she's okay first. So he's going to go over and like gently touch her arm, and hand with the other hand her like the most soft fabric handkerchief ever for her to dab the tears away, and just be like, what has happened? You're so distraught. Are you okay? Have you been harmed?
So Harmonious Ivory will like slowly compose herself. Uh, Sorry if this is a little contrived, but I wonder if Xin Ling would also roll comfort and support
I
here.
was about to ask.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. I was looking at it. I was like, okay,
Yeah.
so that would be, where's my sheet? Oh yeah, it's on the same thing. I will use my, oh gosh. I guess trying to keep control of the situation, because he's like ordering the guards and trying to keep her calm. I'm gonna use metal, which is a +0, and that's 2d6. Roll. I got a 3.
Go ahead and mark metal.
All right, I get an advancement, right? No.
You don't get points for just failing rolls.
Okay.
Only for failing duels or
Okay.
challenges like that.
So then, what happens on a 3? What does it say?
I don't
Nothing,
believe there are.
right?
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't believe
It just
there
like
are
falls short. It's
Right.
not sincere.
It falls short in some way, and I think this is the second failed comfort or support move we've seen in this game so far. Xin Ling, would you like to explain how this falls short or falls flat? Yeah.
I would say when he's like comforting, he like hands her, he's like talking to her, but not looking at her. It's kind of like looking over to where the guards are, looking around the room, not really paying 100% attention to comforting her like he should be to make it seem more sincere. So it just kind of looks like he's like going, "Oh, are you okay? Okay, are you all right? Is everything fine? Here, wipe these tears away." And like just kind of wanting to leave the room and figure out where Gentleman Bao-Yin ran to.
Now, Harmonious Ivory, you have. This reminds me, after we resolve this scene, we need to do highlighting of entanglements and rewriting of entanglements. I forgot to do that at the start. But as far as I know, you have, this deep affection. You're practically deeply in love with Xin Ling. Does this hurt your feelings, or how do you react?
Well, I think I experienced some inner conflict here because even though it's plainly insincere, and as an accustomed liar, I recognize immediately how insincere it is still the most intimacy I've ever had with this man who I love. So on one level, just want to stay here and soak it up. On the other hand, I am going to be married to tax collector Chow at dawn, so I have a lot of stuff that I need to do before then. So I feel like a lot of inner conflict about where to go from here.
Very well. What you gonna roll with? Well, actually, I think it has to be metal at this point because you can never roll with your style element, and the only unmarked, that just leaves metal.
All right, metal it is. Hey.
You get to mark XP for rolling inner conflict, and you maintain your composure.
All right. Well, I guess I've got to figure out what I want to do then. I was hoping the dice would resolve it for me. I think that I'm going to say to Xin Ling, I'm sorry. This is not your concern. I should not have involved you with this. I must go. I must speak to Six Finger Lament urgently. And I will try and leave.
Is there? I'm trying to think if Xin Ling is just going to let her go without. Because as far as I know, Six Finger Lament is still like accused of the murders, and I don't really want Harmonious Ivory to be caught with a murderer. And I'm like thinking, why is she trying to seek him out? And so I think I'm going to try and stop her by, let's see, is it a...
Do you mean through kind of like talking Harmonious Ivory out of it?
I don't think so. I think like because she's so distraught, I'm not sure if she's gonna listen to me. I want to like take out my fan and just physically block her. And just be, when I do that, just say, enough, Harmonious Ivory. You have been running around all night and have been supposedly doing things on my behest, yet I have not received any information. Yet now you search for a murderer? What is going on?
Is there a move that you're rolling, or should I just like respond?
We could do I guess there's dueling. It's the only one. I don't know what the. Or wait, there's a word one, right? Let me see.
There is a social duel.
Social duel.
It sounds almost like Hearts and Minds to me.
Where is that?
Yeah, social duel is more like a political foe.
Okay. Okay, I can use that on PCs. Yeah, we'll do Hearts and Minds, and I'm for sure using my passion for this.
All right. I am definitely susceptible to your words.
So I just roll the 2d6 and there'll be a +2 modifier. I received an 8.
On a 7 to 9, if I decline, you mark an element. But I mark XP if I do as you ask.
Yeah, I want to know answers.
So hard. Well, I guess I already rolled in a conflict for this.
To clarify, if you don't do what Xin Ling says, it's you, Harmonious Ivory, that marks the element.
Well, because it's a 9, we both do. Because
it says I also mark a element.
Yeah, it's a 7 to 9.
Oh, my mistake. Yes, correct.
I
think I'm just going to mark. No, I can't afford to mark any more elements. So I'm in crisis.
I've had you cornered.
Fine, I back down. I acquiesce. And I guess to mark XP for that. And I'll just sort of say, yes, I'm sorry, Master. Please forgive me. I don't know what I'm saying.
Now, I don't want you to come to harm. I just need to know what has troubled you so to want to run to Six Finger Lament.
All right. I will tell Xin Ling that it was something that I saw in Gentleman Bao-Yin's eyes. I realized that it is Gentleman Bao-Yin who is the killer, and that he has framed Six Finger Lament. And I want to go to Six Finger Lament and both help him to clear his name and enlist his help in overcoming the so-called gentleman.
I think this information, there's no reason for Xin Ling to not believe Harmonious Ivory, but also his own brother and his own feelings for Gentleman Bao-Yin gets in the way. So I think this is for sure for Xin Ling to decide what to say or do next is a inner conflict.
That works for me. What are you going to roll with?
I would say I have to choose between wood and fire. I suppose it would just be fire again, because like the amount of passion that he has for like the court and his brother, Gentleman Bao-Yin, Harmonious Ivory, everything is coming down on him. So let's roll those dice. About running out of elements too. Oh, I got a 6.
Do you want to spend a bond to bump that up to a hit?
Do I even have bond left? I have Han, my brother. I will use Han, my brother, my love for my brother, to try and focus up here. And I'll spend the bond, move it up to a 7, which would give me either flee the scene or mark the element. I think in this circumstance, Jingling is going to close his fan, turn on his heel, and leave the room and try and follow in the footsteps to make sure that Han wasn't wrapped up in this foolishness, whatever it is.
Very well. What I want to do is pause real quick to check in, see if we need to change any entanglements or to at least give people a chance to highlight whatever entanglements they've got. So I'll pause real quick here and give everyone a chance to do that. Once your entanglements are good to go and highlighted, just give me a thumbs up or put OK in the chat. So Shane, you're good to go.
I changed mine to Han's.
And Josh, you're good to go?
Yeah, I'm just writing a little bit, but I'm just rewriting the Harmonious Ivory one.
Okay, no worries. Once you're done, let us know, and we will. I want to hear what everyone's changes were, and then we'll proceed with the next scene, which I want to zoom into Six Finger Lament for that one.
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, Xin Ling, what was your change to your entanglement?
I didn't change it. I just highlighted my little brother Han entanglement, the general one.
Got it. Josh, how about you?
Yeah, I changed my romantic entanglement to Harmonious Ivory, whom I loved from afar, betrayed me. Now I'm on the run from her and half the city. And that is my highlighted one also.
Awesome, that works for me. Let's go to Six Finger Lament. I would like to do at least a scene with you, and then maybe take the first break early so I can fiddle around with my mic. I did some quick testing on my end, and yeah, I definitely hear some kind of shrill noise in the background. So I've got a backup. I can plug it in, and hopefully it'll get working. But Six Finger Lament. Last we heard from you, you had made a dramatic escape out a window from an 8-foot tall battle demon, which is adopting the disguise of Jade Serpent, who appears to be dead. What you up to?
So I took a new move with my advance called Storm Rider, which allows you once per scene to travel anywhere within line of sight, moving like a blur. So I'm imagining like the camera sees me falling out this window, and I'm picturing. I mean, you tell me what you prefer, but I'm picturing like there's a river, like the so I'm falling down towards a river, but then there's like a blast of wind, and I just like a blur whoosh off to the other side of this river, and there's like a picturesque like fishing village there, and what I'm aiming for is a scene where I'm contemplating, you know, this demon and how I've been defeated by it, and I look around and I see all of these lanterns, all of these paper lanterns. I think it's more of a Japanese thing, isn't it? But anyways, and they're all hanging, and I start to think, how can I overcome this demon? You know, overcome the fire of this demon. So I'm angling to maybe roll the new technique move.
Absolutely. So with the new technique move, you simply roll with the number of times you've seen your foe's fighting form. In this case, I think 1.
I had the other scene that we did last time where I examined the evidence of the battle that Gentleman Bao-Yin had against I presumably a demon, or was that somebody else?
I'm going to say that was somebody else.
Okay, so we're just rolling with +1 then. What did I get? It says 0. I didn't stack my dice, that's why. That's a 6.
Well, with the +1, that's a 7.
Oh yeah, that's right. Okay, yeah, I'll go with that. So I think I succeed. So I raise my scale against this demon, but there's some complication, right?
Yeah, it says that there is a significant cost to learning the move. If you have a suggestion as to what that might be, I'd be glad to hear it, but otherwise I can generate something.
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe like this incredible speed that I use with the wind, like flowing with the wind, and it allows me to strike and blow the flames away, but maybe also the flames become kind of chaotic, so there's a real potential for me to burn myself in doing this. So it's a tech. I learned this new technique by, maybe there's a scene of me fighting against these lanterns, using this wind power of mine, and you know, maybe my robe catches on fire and I have to sort of, you know, slap it out, you know, and I realize this is a dangerous technique to use.
Got it. So perhaps a significant cost might be that in order to even face this opponent, you have to mark an element.
Yeah, or maybe the wound, I guess, or the option. Yeah, I like that. When the time comes, there's gonna be a cost.
Right, there will be some kind of cost. You'll have to at least mark an element, maybe more, just to use this fighting style against them because it is such a exhausting, draining style of martial combat that
Right.
an element is gonna. That sounds reasonable to me. So you gain scale on this demon. However, it costs you at least an element, if not more. We'll find out in order to even begin to fight them.
Okay, I'll make a note of that so we don't forget.
Sure. Is there anything else? I mean, that was a very quick scene. It took all of 3 minutes. Is there anything else following that you have on your agenda?
We don't have to do it right now, but I think where I'm going next is, let me ask, does anybody remember, is there any reason for Six Finger Lament to suspect the general is involved with demons? To my memory, I don't think so, but am I missing anything?
Besides it being Jade Serpent,
Yeah,
she
I
worked
mean,
under him, but that's
yeah,
it, I think.
but she was killed by the demons. Like, I don't really necessarily know she was involved with them, or so as I'm standing right now, I think where I'm going is going back to the palace to try to, get in contact with the general and warn him that there's demons that have killed Jade Serpent and are taking, they're shapeshifters of some sort, right?
Something to that effect. I don't think that have you personally witnessed? Well, I mean, I guess you saw the demon and you fought the demon, so yeah, of course.
I think, didn't you, again, remind me if I forget, if I remember this wrong, but when she came in and she's like, when I snuck into Jade Serpent's room and I saw the dead body and then I heard the voice say, Six Finger Lament, I turned around, was it already in demon form at that point, or had it, was it transforming? I can't remember.
Well, I think that we can say that it was at least. I think whatever just makes more sense for you, and I'm okay with you seeing that it was Jade Serpent. Well, I mean, it gave you the whole monologue about how, Jade Serpent is there, they're dead, and I am taking their body, and now you will join my ranks shortly. That
Right,
so, yeah,
right. That's where I got that. Yeah. So yeah, I suspect that then they're shape changers or taking the place of people. So I would want to go to my master and warn him.
makes a lot of sense. So you're going to be taking off towards One Heng. Xin Ling and Harmonious Ivory are taking off after Bao-Yin.
Well, I want to try and find Six Finger Lament. That's still my plan.
Of course, of course, of course.
So I mysteriously was not lying about that part.
Got it. But you don't know where Six Finger Lament would be, do you? Okay. So what I might like to do is actually stay with Six Finger Lament a while longer, and I'm curious to get General One Hang back into the spotlight and see how that interaction plays out. So how do you approach One Hang? Do you kind of show up at his at the door of his chambers, where closely guarded and demanding to ask for him, or how does that go?
Well, I believe I'm still being pursued, right? I'm wondering if I have to, do you think I have to sneak into the palace, or can I just openly ask for an audience with the general at this point?
You're right that you are absolutely wanted. And so there might not be a good way, unless you were just exceptionally lucky on, some kind of social role. There's probably not a good way for you to present yourself in public without having the authorities immediately arrest you. There are at least 2 murders that you are basically on trial for, not the least of which is Jade Serpent herself.
So maybe I need to use my roll move then, which allows me to gain access to a protected person, location, or item. So I'm trying to gain access to the general. So I will roll, if that sounds right, I will roll with, let's roll with Earth, I guess. Caution, focus, and presence. It's a +0. And that is an 8. And on my move, on an 8, it is on a 7-9, there's a complication. So I succeed to get to the general, it sounds like, but there is a complication. Oh, and I choose. Arrival's already there, your time is cut short, or word of your violation leaks out in the worst light. Let's have arrival already there. Who who would be in my, I guess,
Oh, I already know.
you know who that is? Okay.
Oh yeah. So let's go ahead and go over to that. Like, how do you sneak in, and where do you find the general? Are they guarded, or are they kind of one-on-one, or how does that work?
Maybe again, maybe the general is like in a high tower, you know, overlooking the palace below. He's got, you know, he's reading a scroll or something, and there's a wuxia wind, and I'll use that power of mine that once a scene, I can just I can blink and go from spot to spot, and I suddenly appear beside him, and I say, Master, you know, don't be alarmed. Um, I am, you know, loyal to you. I am not behind any of these murders that, you know, you may have been told that that I have been linked to. It's a long tale, but most importantly, I'm here to warn you that there are demons within the grounds that are taking the forms of at least Jade Serpent. She has been killed by a demon. Um, I think you may be in great danger.
Taken by the form of a demon.
Yeah, the demon killed Jade Serpent. I saw her dead in her chambers, and it said that it was going to take her place, and it tried to do the same to me.
So I think this is a very challenging thing for the general to believe. I feel like this probably calls for some kind of role here to prevent him from either attacking you or having you be arrested on the spot, that sort of thing. So I am curious. I think maybe Hearts and Minds might make sense here.
Yeah.
If you could also make an argument for, yeah, no, I think Hearts and Minds is really the thing that applies here.
Okay. Yeah, and I understand that, you know, I'm trying to, present myself as calm and patient, so I'm going to go with wood. So that's a +2. That's a 7. +2 is a 9. Let's see, on a 10 plus, do I get anything extra? Let me take a look at the move here. They bow to your druids, do what you want. On a 7/9, they may not do. I wish. Let's go with the 7 and 9. So I think that gives you an option of how they react. They do what you wish. I guess what I'm trying to do is to have him become alarmed and to protect himself or look out for himself.
That sounds reasonable. Let me take a look at my options here. I think overreact feels good here. Perhaps your words land almost too well, and he's called for some kind of complete and utter blood hunt, you know, against whatever the demonic creature or force that has infiltrated the area is. He believes you completely. I think the way that he overreacts is I think he's going to say that this is definitely Xin Ling's fault. Six Finger Lament, he says. I know exactly who's behind this.
Really?
There's no question. The assassination of Jade Serpent, the attempted assassination of tax collector Chow. Yes. I will give you an offer, Six Finger Lament. I can see to it that these charges that have been pressed upon you are completely eliminated if you are able to bring me Xin Ling's head on a platter by dawn.
Okay. I think that definitely would create some inner conflict. I of course have experienced nothing that suggests Xin Ling is behind this. I might have said General Bao-Yin or maybe Harmonious Ivory, but as far as I know, Xin Ling hasn't done anything. So, and I respect him. So, yeah, I think there's some inner conflict here.
But the fact that Xin Ling is a political rival surely has nothing to do.
Yeah, right. But then my loyalty to him, like I want to believe him, right? Because he's my master. Um, so yeah, there's this conflict. Let's go with Earth. It's a +0. That's an 8. Which what is he? I have to flee or mark an element. Is that right?
That is correct, yes.
So let's see. I keep my composure, but I say very well. I will. I'll find him. You can count on me, General. And again, whoosh, and the wind picks up and I disappear, into the distance.
Sure. It occurred to me that I didn't insert a rival into that scene, so I think I botched that move a little bit. But I'm willing to let that slide unless you had a rival that you think would.
Oh yeah. I mean, I guess. I think you said you thought you had a rival in mind. Do you know who that might have been?
Well, now that you have sworn to defeat Xin Ling and slaughter him, I feel like it would almost be appropriate for Stone of the Heavens to show up.
Okay. Sure. Maybe that moment of my conflict, or I'm trying to retroactively bring that together. Because I do need to flee too. Like, I don't know. You tell me how.
Stone of the Heavens, like as you flee.
Yeah, maybe.
Something along those lines. Where are you going to be fleeing to?
I think I need to go find Xin Ling. Yeah.
Okay. And they're making off for Xin Ling is going to find Bao-Yin. Harmonious Ivory is trying to find you. So where do you go to find Xin Ling?
I have another move called Flying Daggers. If I spend a bond with someone, I can arrive at their location. And I do have a bond with Xin Ling, so I think I just find him somehow.
There we go.
That who knows what it is.
And speaking of, because we went with the overreact move for Hearts and Minds, go ahead and take a bond with General Han.
Got it.
Or Wan Heng.
Yeah, but maybe I don't see Stone of the Heavens then? Stone of the Heavens just shows up as I'm leaving?
I will find a way to incorporate it.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I'll think on that. Let's go ahead and take our first break at this point so that I can get my mic situation sorted out and quit being a strange buzzing in everyone's ears. And we will come back in 10 minutes, so maybe right around 36.
Okay.
See everybody in a little bit. So I think that at this point, we're going to go back to Bao-Yin, and last we heard of Bao-Yin, you had made off with Han and are now holed up in some attic somewhere. Can you describe the kind of part of town this is in? Is this like a seedy place that has a reputation for crime? Is it down by the docks? I just kind of want to know the layout of the area.
Yeah, we are in the seediest part of town. We're in like the buildings in this part of town are very high. They're just sort of like shacks built on top of each other to maximize the space. And we are on like the fourth story attic, a little bit taller than all the other buildings we're peering out. And inside, Bao-Yin, Han, and 8 thieves are all sharing this small room. Pacing. Bao-Yin is pacing back and forth. The thieves look a little bit more calm. I don't know what Han is doing.
Han is terrified, I think.
Terrified.
He likes you a lot, but this is not the crowd he thought you ran with. This is not the part of town he thought you ran with. He's asking you a lot of questions, like, what are we doing? Why are we here? Where are you taking me? What is the point of this? Like, he thought that you were just some cool gallivanting guy. He didn't know you had like a gang.
Yeah. Well, the gang's cool too if Han got to know them. Yeah. So Bao-Yin I think that the first thing that Bao-Yin is going to do is he's going to get the reliquary away from him, right? So he's sending the Invincible Eight off to find anywhere that wants this reliquary, right? Anyone that will shelter him, anyone who will pay him, whatever. It needs to not be on Bao-Yin. He needs plausible deniability. So I'm gonna say this is Earth. So that is a flat roll.
Okay. This is your Invincible 8 move.
This is my Invincible 8 move.
Okay.
Yeah. And that is a 5. So I fail, which means that my Invincible 8 turn against me. So they leave. I send them out to find, and they do not come back. They have turned against me. Know where I am.
I have an alternative idea here, right? Because I want to. We can go with that. I also remember that when you made your last move, it came with the stipulation that you escape by running into something worse.
Yes.
And my thinking is that the something worse is that your Invincible 8 have essentially laid this trap for you.
Yes, perfect.
So I imagine that everyone is kind of gathered around this ramshackle table. There is one small window off to the side, but it is the middle of the night. There is a singular lantern that dimly illuminates everyone. And I actually kind of want to play out how this scene goes before they turn on you. Do you show up with Han? And when you do, what Pale Cricket I think is right there, the head of your Invincible 8. And what do you say to him?
Yeah, so we are on the roof, right? Me and Han are on the roof. It's very dramatic. Han is in a cloak, swaddled up. So am I. Bao-Yin's colorful clothes are hidden in this dark robe, and he, knocks on the shuttered window of this attic, and the window opens. It's Pale Cricket. And Pale Cricket lets us in, and we think, good, we're in out of the cold, out of the rain, and Pale Cricket shuts the door behind us.
Who is this? Motioning to Han.
This is the Princeling Han. He is heir to the throne. And
so?
Heir to the throne.
I see. Have a seat, please. Let me bring you something to drink.
Yeah, Bao-Yin sits down on the floor. He gestures for Han to join him.
And I think that Pale Cricket will sort of bring you this kind of jug, if you will, of some kind of wine, and he pours you a cup. Here, tell me, how did this happen?
Bao-Yin, he takes the wine, he drinks the wine, he takes a moment, he savors it, and then he says, "Oh, Pale Cricket, it has been a long night." And he tells the story. He tells of how he was with Six Finger Lament. He tells of he hides some of it because Han is there, right? So I think he actually doesn't mention that. He says that he was in the palace with Harmonious Ivory, and that Harmonious Ivory turned on him, and he ran with what he was holding, which is this reliquary, and he brings the reliquary out of his pocket then from the palace's storeroom. Harmonious Ivory must want it badly to have betrayed me for it. We cannot keep it. It's too dangerous.
I see. This gentleman Bao-Yin, you've brought us the prince's brother, And a reliquary, this is, you're in over your head.
Alone, yes, of course. But I have been in over my head alone many times, and that is why I am a comrade of you eight fine men. For together we are never in over our heads, Cricket.
He's looking at Han, and Han is petrified. He's looking at the reliquary, and it's clearly quite valuable, but also quite dangerous. And I think there's this moment where he thinks to himself and says, sort of thinking aloud, you know, between the three of these things, the most valuable acquisition that we might have is you, Bao-Yin.
Me? I am a traveler.
He kind of stands up and folds his arms thoughtfully and just kind of watches you. And as he does, it occurs to you that nobody else drank that wine.
Mm.
And you're beginning to feel a little bit disoriented. If that doesn't cross any lines or veils, I really should.
No.
Yeah, it doesn't look
not
like it does. So you're feeling a bit disoriented and, well, vulnerable. Pale Cricket sighs and simply says, I'm sorry. It's just business. And he draws his weapon. What do you do?
Could I ask if Pale Cricket's scale is higher or lesser or at the same as mine?
Normally it is lesser. You are the head, but because you have been, well, drugged, I would say you're at the same scale as him.
Okay. I will duel Pale Cricket. Bao-Yin stands woozily. His halberd is gone still, I think. So he pulls a knife from his boot, a big long, he has thigh boots on, so it is a very large knife. And he pulls it, and he sways a little bit as he stands, which normally doesn't do. He's a very confident, man. And he says, Cricket, I might have done the same. And then he spits. And the duel starts.
I think that the other invincible aides are taken aback that you can even stand. You're like Rasputin. The amount of sheer constitution you must be exhibiting here to even be awake with the amount of poison they put into that thing. All right. So first of all, let's just kind of describe. I'm curious to hear what the Western Inferno dance, your fighting style, looks like when you are stone drunk.
Oh yeah, it is. So normally the Western Inferno dance, there's a lot of spins, there's a lot of jumps, you are always moving, right? You sort of try to embody the fire tornado. But Bao-Yin is drunk, and Bao-Yin is uncoordinated, and Bao-Yin is he is inflexible right now, conditionally, and instead, his movements are are flailing, right? They're less controlled than they would usually be. I think that he's going very close to the sort of edges of the attic and bouncing off of like the men in the corner. They're shoving him back into the ring. And I rolled an 11. So
Oh boy.
on a 10 plus, I win the conflict. And Bao-Yin, so Bao-Yin, he cuts Pale Cricket, and even though he is drugged and he is disoriented and he is all these things, He's bigger than Pale Cricket. You know, he's a bigger man. He's a stronger man, and he falls onto Pale Cricket, and he's holding him down. And Pale Cricket and Bao-Yin stabs the knife into the floor next to Pale Cricket, and he says, "You tried this because you thought I was weak. That's fair. I've been weak in this city, but I am not weak, Cricket. Remember that." And then he sort of kneels up again, and then he vomits on, and it's not on Cricket, but it splashes on Cricket a little bit. And he sort of wipes his mouth and grimaces, and he looks at the 7 other men in the room and he says, "Now, we are going to get rid of this reliquary."
Can I edit one thing here? I think it would be neat if Xin Ling or others showed up in the middle of this fight.
Absolutely, feel free.
So I'm trying to think, who's actually looking for, it's so confusing to tell who's looking for who here. Bao-Yin is being looked for by Xin Ling. And,
Yes.
and Harmonious Ivory is looking for Six Finger Lament, who is also looking for Bao-Yin. So I think Xin Ling and maybe even Six Finger Lament are kind of showing up at the same time, or maybe all 3 of you just kind of show up at the same time.
Well, can I just ask a question? Sorry, go on, Chase.
Oh no, I was just making like an awkward.
Like, has word gotten around that Xin Ling is being blamed for these demonic murders? Because that would change my plan if I know that like the guards are all out to catch Xin Ling.
Oh, that's a good question.
Or is it more like the general's just sent Six Finger Lament to do this thing and is trying to keep it quiet?
Which one do you think would be cooler? Because I can see it being good if it's just like, oh, hey, we got to keep this quiet. I'm trying to just quietly, you know, eliminate this political rival. But I could also see it being interesting if it was just this brazen, this is the enemy, we have to destroy them now. Just essentially a coup, almost. I kind of like the second one a little bit, but that's just because it's a little bit more
I'm into
dramatic.
the second one. If word's gotten around that Xin Ling is the new target, then I'm going to go and try and speak to the general rather than try and find Bao-Yin.
Okay, and so I think that what we end up with is a mob of civilians that is after Six Finger Lament, and a mob of armed guards who are after Xin Ling. Feels reasonable to me. And so I think that you're going to be going after the General Harmonious Ivory, and I think that as this fight between Bao-Yin and Pale Cricket is going on, Xin Ling, Six Finger Lament, you folks show up at the same time. And first of all, I want to hear how your respective entrances look. Xin Ling, I think that you're the one who's specifically looking for Bao-Yin, so let's start with you.
I think Xin Ling is mostly able to find Bao-Yin because he has Han with him, and Han sticks out because he's the princeling. So when I arrive, I'm out of breath. I'm exhausted, having to like fight through the seedy area of the crowd to try and save my brother from Gentleman Bao-Yin, because in my mind I'm thinking he's like kidnapped him to use him as a bargaining chip. And when I see like this fighting going on, I think I'm just going to focus on running to Han's side and trying to get him out of this situation, because that's my...
Can I at least mention, though, that your character is also in love with Bao-Yin, and he is being assaulted with a weapon, and this person very well may be trying to kill him. Is there any inner conflict here as you have to choose between your brother and your crush?
That is the main thing of my conflict. That is true. I will. Yeah, that is a big inner conflict. Because they look like they're on the same. Like, I can tell that Gentleman Bao-Yin looks a little wobbly on his feet, and this person is like coming at him, and he's outnumbered. So let's see. Da, da, da. Goodness, I only have like 2 stats, and wood doesn't really make sense here. So,
Unfortunately, you cannot roll with your style element.
Oh,
for inner
that's
conflict,
right.
So this has to be at a -1.
Okay, so I say my mind is filled with many thoughts, and my curiosity is starting to wonder, like, why is this fight happening? Why is Han even here? Like, why did he grab him? And that seems to be like my whole entire thing right now. Is just wondering what the hell is going on. I leave these people alone for 2 seconds. I rolled a 2.
Okay. Go ahead and mark wood. And congrats on being the first to have 4 elements marked.
Hey.
And things are going to get much worse for you momentarily. Six Finger Lament, how does your entrance look?
I think if it's okay with everyone, especially Josh, maybe one of like this whole scene where he's been having this showdown with Pale Cricket, one of the Invincible Eight has just been quietly sitting in a corner, in a dark corner. He's got like a big wide brim, like straw hat, like you see in like Kung Fu movies, and just sitting there kind of like twiddling at a guitar. So, it zeroes in and it's Six Finger Lament that you realize, after the wherever we're at in the story here. Maybe I've knocked out one of the Invincible Eight at some point,
Yeah, totally.
taken their place.
And there you are. So I think that we'll say that, I think that we can just say that thematically they don't immediately notice you. There's just the one that's conked out next to you while you twiddle it away with the guitar while this combat is going on.
Mm-hmm.
Xin Ling, what do you do? I mean, you've kind of failed the inner conflict roll. Do you hesitate? Do you do something impulsive? I mean, who do you go for here?
I think I jump into the battle to stop it.
Okay.
I want to, I guess, use I have the new ability Legend of the Mountain from the other playbook where it says where I defend someone or something. I can, on a hit, like keep them safe and stuff like that.
Got it. So I think that makes sense.
So take out both fans and try to jump in to assist.
Who are you trying to defend exactly? Is it Han or is it Bao-Yin?
I think Bao-Yin is immediate danger, so jump in to defend him first.
If I might, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, if that's how you show up, I think obviously the remaining 6 of the Invincible 8 who are not occupied or otherwise unconscious are essentially going to say, hey, we've got company, and they're going to converge on you, and there's going to be what basically amounts to a deal with troops move, but we're using your Legend of the Mountain move to resolve the fight scene between you and them, the way that I think about it.
Yeah.
Six Finger Lament, what were you going to say?
I was just going to suggest that since Chase got that miss, maybe to make it even more messy, either the gang, the crowd following me or the guards following him show up and join the fray. But maybe we don't need that. I was just thinking that because it seemed like Josh had kind of like won his duel, right? So I didn't know if that battle was still happening for Xin Ling to help or to defend.
I'm saying that this defending move, this battle with Xin Ling, this is all happening as the fight with
Okay.
Bao-Yin and Pale Crick
So
is
I'm
going
like,
on.
I'm more fighting the lackeys versus intervening their direct duel
Okay.
kind of thing.
Unless you would like to flavor it differently. Okay, that works. So let's get that Legend of the Mountain roll and see how that plays out for you.
Okay, I shall use my passion and hope I don't lose it. Because if I lose this element, I take wound damage, I think.
Well,
right?
the way that it works is at any point when you would mark an element, you can choose to mark your wounded
Instead.
box instead.
Okay.
People tend to do that if it means that they would
The
otherwise have
last
to mark their
one.
style element.
Yeah.
Or if it's their last one, yes.
Yep. Okay. Well, I will use my last available fire. I'm on complete aggro mode. I have a 9.
Okay,
So
so on a 7 to 9, yeah, go ahead and take it away. You may either mark an element or let the GM complicate the situation.
I will let you complicate the situation.
I could try to jump into the fray and support. Maybe I'll do that.
You can roll for support here. Yeah.
Try to get the +1 to a 10. Yeah, I'll do that. So I will use. I guess we're fighting. I can use my fire, my what do they call it? Your style element, or is that only for like dueling?
No, you can absolutely use that for any move. It's just
Okay.
if you are dueling, you must use that, but you can use that style element for anything.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm gonna use my fire then. So it's a +2 on this. That's an 8. So on comfort and support, you lift them up, you may give them a bond or clear a marked element. So I'll give him a bond, which you can immediately burn to give yourself a +1 to make it a 10.
Really?
Yep, that's how it works.
Snaps. Yes, I will do that.
So I want to hear how this looks. Xin Ling, you start off with, I mean, this is the first actual martial battle you've had in the entire series so far.
Yes.
So I'm curious to hear how Sun Follows the Crow looks with your metal fans fending off these thieves that are converging upon you.
It's kind of like similar to like a bird wings flapping during the combat and kind of like reflecting enemies into each other in a way. And it's like a wild swirls and like slashes with the metal points and like redirecting their weapons towards each other.
I imagine there's a lot of spinning if you have fans.
Yes.
That kind of like 360 whirlwind strike sort of style
Yes.
going on. Interesting. I love it. And so Six Finger Lament, how do you swoop in and help?
So maybe one of the Invincible 8 is about to, have a heavy blow on one of them, and there's a discordant note from the guitar, and whoosh, I'd appear and I knock them out.
What do you knock them out with? Do you El Kabong them with the guitar, or do you?
No, probably just a fist. Sped up. Using my wind power to have a heavy blow to their jaw.
Got it. So that's 2 that you've dispatched, and so I think then what we end up with here is a situation where, Bao-Yin, you have won your battle, and so Six Finger Lament, you dispatch 1 right as it's about to attack Xin Ling. I think this is how things get a lot worse for Xin Ling, though, after you failed that inner conflict roll. I think what ends up happening here is everyone sort of looks, and then settles down. There's this moment of silence as the combat comes to a close. And in all the confusion and all the violence, I mean, we're dealing with probably, 7, 8, 9 people. This was a mass combat in the slums. Han is lying on the floor, a wound to his side, bleeding. His breathing is shallow. He's been stabbed, and he is not well. And at that point, I think we should go to Harmonious Ivory. So, Ivory, you have made a detour to meet with General Wan Heng, if I recall.
Well, so I want to set this up a little. So before we started the recording, we talked about my new move, which is that I have a secret identity as a trusted advisor of Jade Serpent. And it's in that identity that I will be going to try and meet with the general. And the way I approach that is that she, goes to change into her. So I think that the advisor's name is Sister Serpent. She goes and changes into Sister Serpent, but not just the normal, nicely dressed advisor that is often seen at court. She puts on her very finest silks that she's saved for a moment just like this, her most expensive jewelry, her most elaborate makeup. She spent, her hair is immaculate. And then she, it's late, but there's still people around at court. She's going to like march through the court so that everyone sees her. Everyone sees how good she looks. Everyone is talking about how she's going to, Sister Serpent is going to meet with the general. And what I am like angling for here is to roll to impress, to just impress like the people at court generally.
I imagine that in light of this proclamation that Xin Ling is actually consorting with demons, I think that a large number of the court members would be awake now. And to see you strolling down in the middle of the night looking this way, that works for me. So we can go with the impress move. And that reminds me, actually, Xin Ling, I believe you get a point of influence for free as part of your move. Because you start the session with 0
Yes.
influence, you get
Yeah.
1 for free. Okay, just wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, what are you going to roll with, Harmonious Ivory?
Yeah, I am going to roll with metal for control, calculation, and reflection. Let's see how this goes. That is a 6. So I will spend a bond to bring that up to a 7. I will spend my bond with, let's see, Gentleman Bao-Yin. I that's over now. There's nothing between us, at least as far as I'm concerned. And what does that mean? On a hit, okay, so I get to pick 2 options, but you offer a complication or a hard choice. I'm going to take, it says I can pick the same option twice, so I'm going to gain 2 more influence.
All right, 2 influence, and I will hold the hard choice or complication in reserve for a moment. But I think that it's clear that easily the most attractive person in court right now. My God, as you go to the general here, and do you meet with the general at the top of this tower, or is he down in a court in front of a lot of other people? Is this a private meeting, semi-public? What does this look like?
Oh, this is definitely a private meeting. Or, at least if he'll receive me, it'll be a private meeting.
Oh, absolutely.
And what I want to tell him is that, first of all, thank you for acting so swiftly to avenge Jade Serpent, such an important and honorable figure at court. My grief is beyond expression, but I have, and let me compliment also your wisdom in identifying Xin Ling as being involved. However, I have discovered evidence that this conspiracy goes far higher than Xin Ling. Xin Ling is a mere pawn. I believe that Father Locust is ultimately responsible, that he has been conspiring against the court, along with the Stone of the Heavens, tax collector Chow, and Gentleman Bao-Yin, who your palace guards will confirm stole something from the royal archives earlier this evening. I urge you to have these people arrested immediately and thrown into the deepest dungeons of the court where they can cause no further harm. However, as I say, Xin Ling, a mere pawn in this scheme. I don't think it's necessary that Xin Ling face arrest for his crimes, which were minor and foolish, the foolish mistakes of a young person. But of course, Xin Ling, you cannot allow to continue at court in his current status. What you should do instead is to humble Xin Ling, and the arrest of tax collector Chow will create a wonderful opportunity for you to do so by, once you ascend to the throne, forcing Xin Ling to marry his servant, Harmonious Ivory. And I would like to roll is it the game of court?
I think this would be probably game of court here. Yeah.
So I have 3 influence. I'm going to roll with my 3 influence. I'm going to spend them all on this. Let's see. That's an 11. So on a 10 plus, I gain 2 hold. Not quite sure how to construct this to get the things that I want. But certainly, one of them. So one of the things I can choose is to make someone be subject to or avoid an investigation. I don't know if I can make that whole group that I just implicated be subject to an investigation. If I'm choosing just one person, it will be Father Locust to get him off my back. And then the second one I think is obtain access to a protected person. I'm trying to obtain access to the possibility of matrimony with Xin Ling.
So essentially, we're saying you need to get Father Locust. Xin Ling's fine, and were you trying to push for matrimony there?
Yeah, I'm trying to suggest to the general that once he becomes, once he ascends to the throne, which surely is only a matter of time, to humble Xin Ling before the court for his misdeeds. He should force Xin Ling to marry Harmonious Ivory, Xin Ling's serpent. Reducing his status at court, and ending any claim that Xin Ling might have to the throne, because clearly after that, Xin Ling could never be, a ruler.
Oh, goodness. Okay. Let me think on this for a minute, because I think I have a response, but I need to just kind of look at the relationship map here and think it out for a moment.
Chase should have your shadow. What is that? What it's called? Your shadow's still hidden around there too.
You'll never know when he pops up.
Everybody's got bad disguises or looks exactly the same.
Okay. So I think that this is going to be the complication or difficult, what was it, the hard question or the something like that from the impress move.
Yep.
Let's see here, a complication or a hard choice. Okay. I think General One Hang, here is your argument out. And this is a sledgehammer of a political move. 3 influence, rolled an 11. He says to you, did you have a name that you go by here? Is it Lady Serpent, or what did you say it was?
Sister Serpent.
Sister Serpent. Sister Serpent, he says. And he pours you another little cup of tea, slides it to you. I see truth in your words. And I think that what you say is actionable. Father Locust must be eliminated. And I think you are the one to do it. But, and he leans in very closely at this point, Xin Ling must not know. And I will tell you why. But you must hold this in the strictest of confidences. You are my second in command with the death of Jade Serpent. You understand this, yes?
Of course, General. I will hold your confidence with my life.
You understand that Father Locust is known as a master of disguise. You are among my greatest assassins and the only one who, in the realms of stealth and disguise and subterfuge, could rival Father Locust. My God, it's almost as if you learned from him yourself. But I am privy to some information that no one else is aware of. And this is critical for you to know. And it is also critical that Xin Ling never knows this.
Of course, General.
Father Locust is Xin Ling's father. It is critical that you do not tell her. Him. I always mess that up. I'm so sorry, Case.
General, of course, I see no problem as long as you are. Yeah, I think that we have an agreement.
I do want to pause here and make sure I have my dynasties correct. Xin Ling, does this, either way is fine, but does this or does this not make Father Locust also literally the Emperor?
Yeah, if he's alive and well and not actually dead.
So I think with that being said, General Wan Heng gives you some, I guess you would say some, he's very concerned, obviously. He understands the gravity of what he's asking you to do here.
General, I think that now that I understand what this means, the implication that I am a little more concerned about, I say, General, some would describe what you're asking as treason or regicide, but I trust that you will have my back if I need it, if I do as you ask.
Sister Serpent, he says, taking your hand. Now is the time for us to ascend to the throne. I return his embrace. Very well. So you accept the offer then. I'm speaking out of character now. So this is happening, or so he thinks at least.
I'm gonna give it a good old-fashioned try.
All right. So I think we should go ahead and cut back to Bao-Yin, Six Finger Lament, and Xin Ling. Han is not well on the floor. He's he seems to be in dire straits. He is kind of gasping for air, and I think that Bao-Yin, you would see the knife clattered on the floor at his side, the one that he was stabbed with. You are able to recognize immediately one of your people was using poison. It is hard to say how long Han has left. So what do you do, Bao-Yin?
Oof. I gotta save Han. Uh, Bao-Yin is going to... Bao-Yin is going to yell, you know, doctor, doctor. And he's going, and he will grab one of his 7, currently up 8, and he will look at him and say, "Get a doctor," and he'll sort of throw him out of the room. And Bao-Yin is going to start tending to Han. He did not know that he had been stabbed as he was, you know, busy fighting cricket alone. Bao, how am I gonna save this child? Well, I mean, Xin Ling is in the room, right? With his stabbed younger brother. How's he reacting to this?
I think after like dropping the last person, turn on his heel and see Han on the ground, bleeding out, shallow breathing, and then see you go over to him and immediately just run over and try to push you away, yelling, "What have you done? You took my brother, you brought him into the situation, you're trying to destroy me in more ways than one way," and just screaming like nonsense.
Yeah, Bao-Yin yells back. He says, "Destroy you? You are the one who started a brawl. You are the reason why he is dying on the floor." And Bao-Yin turns around and he storms out of the building. And he's just gone, actually, now that he's called for a doctor. He has other important business to get up to. And also he has the reliquary on him still, and he doesn't want you to catch that. So Bao-Yin is running again to get away from his captors and to get a little bit more time.
Six Finger Lament.
I was
What do you do here?
I was gonna say, since I had in our fiction, maybe I had been here for a little while. Maybe I saw them with the poison, and maybe there was an antidote. So maybe a study. Maybe if I can get a question out of that, maybe I know that there's an antidote around. How's that sound?
Well, one of the things that you actually can do with the study move, as a matter of fact, is reveal a detail. You can declare something in the fiction minor that is true, and I think you can absolutely introduce some kind of antidote that you can produce here. I think that that's completely reasonable if you succeed on the study move.
All right, let's see. I had been patiently sitting there, so I'm going to go with wood. +2. 7, just barely squeak that out. Let's see, on a 7, what do I get? Study, do I get 1 question, 1 hold? So yeah, I'll do that. I'll reach into the pocket of, what was Pale Cricket knocked out? Maybe he was the guy I knocked out. So I reach into Pale Cricket's robes and I pull out a little vial and I lean down and I pour out a few drops on the lips of Han, and maybe he magically revives. I don't know.
Sure. I think what'll happen is his breathing will kind of deepen a bit and he will, begin to cease sweating so profusely, and he will go from fighting for his life to merely being in a complete unconscious slumber. It will be well into, it's likely going to take him several days, if not well over a week, before he recovers from this. I mean, we're talking internal bleeding, all kinds of terrible things here. but you have at least for the time being saved his life until such time as he is able to get some actual, well, medical attention.
And maybe I turn to Xin Ling and then say, I think he'll be okay. Now I have to ask a favor of you.
Xin Ling would like, because he's like been trying to like stop the bleeding and stuff like that. He'll see Six Finger Lament kind of put the antidote and see him stabilize and just be like, "Oh, thank you. I don't understand why you've done this when apparently you're the reason why all of this is happening."
It's a long story, but it's not true. I haven't killed anyone. In fact, there's demons in the palace, and I fear for the health of the general and all the nobility. Will you help me to overcome these demons, to expose them, and to defeat them?
Yes, of course, evil beings deserve to be punished out of the light of the sun.
Good. What's going on with Bao-Yin?
Yeah, I will actually, what I would like to do, because we're just at 25, let's go ahead and take our second break here, come back at 36,
Excellent.
and get through some final scenes here before we wrap up. So we'll see
right.
everybody in 10. Okay, well, like we did at the end of our last break, we are starting back up with Gentleman Bao-Yin. You've taken off with a reliquary. Where are you going?
Yeah, Bao-Yin. So Bao-Yin is hanging from the side of the building, climbing down into the alley, and he hears from the top room, from the open window that he had thrown the man out to find the doctor. He hears Six Finger Lament's voice drift out of the wall, and he hears him say, "The palace is full. There are demons in the palace," is what he hears. And he thinks to himself, there are demons in the palace. And he drops into the alley, and from his bag, he pulls out some brushes and an inkstone. And he mixes some ink with the water dripping from the roof. And he paints on the side of the building, "There are demons in the palace." And then he moves down, and throughout the neighborhood, he paints on all these buildings, "There are demons in the palace. There are demons in the palace." And this is Laughing in the Wind. I'm expressing myself via calligraphy. I would say this is creative, expedient, and passionate. That is an 8. And I'm going to say that I begin to change popular opinion. I tell the GM what I hope for, and what I hope for is to let the good folks know that there are demons in the palace.
If I read that correctly, it says that changing popular opinion costs 2 hold.
It does, so that is all I can do.
Okay. Oh, you gain 2 hold.
rolled an
Okay.
8, so I get 2 hold, so I can do nothing else. But I can change public opinion.
Okay.
And I want to turn the public against the palace, against the general, and against the royals, because there are demons in the palace.
Do the public know that it was you who wrote?
No, I would say that Bao-Yin is anonymously writing this.
Got it. And so what we're sort of trying to do is we're taking this mob that's going after Six Finger Lament, and it's not that they love Six Finger Lament now, it's just that there are there's a greater threat that you're trying to galvanize them toward.
In some ways, yes. I think that is an accurate way to put it. I do not mention Six Finger Lament, of course, so I think that the mob is probably not aware of Six Finger Lament. They're just aware that there are demons in the palace.
They probably think that it's Six Finger Lament who's behind the demons in the palace.
Yeah, they might.
Right.
I mean, they think, it's the general, and I think it's the all those elites.
Got it. So they might be onto the idea that there is some kind of coup going on in the palace. They just are getting the reasons wrong.
Yeah,
Okay.
but they're
Got
heading
it.
to the palace.
Okay. And so, is there anything else, Gentleman Bao-Yin, that you want to do, or anywhere you want to go, or anyone you want to talk to, any kind of scene you want to have following the completion of this act of subversion?
Yeah. Uh, I I want to know. I'm gonna stick around. I'm gonna sort of surveil, and I think that Bao-Yin is going to watch where Six Finger Lament heads from the slums, right? Uh, Keep an eye on him, because right now that Bao-Yin, I think right now Bao-Yin feels in most danger from him and Harmonious Ivory, uh, and he doesn't know where Harmonious Ivory is. So
Maybe we should go then to Six Finger Lament and Xin Ling. Uh, let's start with Six Finger Lament. Where are you going? What are you doing? Are you traveling with Xin Ling? I just want to make sure that we're up to speed.
Yeah, I think Xin Ling, if Chase is into it, we're making our way through the night, through the city back to the palace. Maybe there's a montage scene of that, looking to maybe unmark an element for, showing a travel montage through the city. And then once we get there, I think I'm going to explain to Xin Ling the technique that I learned for fighting demon, or this particular demon, and maybe make a comfort and support roll, try to help him out, if that's okay.
Sure, sure. And I think that if you're aiming to unmark some elements, I think that that's understandable. That yeah, Six Finger Lament, you can unmark an element and you can make the comfort and support for Xin Ling as well.
Okay. I'm going to unmark metal, and then I'm going to roll with I'll roll with wood to try to showing patience and explain this technique for fighting demons to Xin Ling. So this is with +2. That's a 12. So on a 12, you get comfort and support. You may clear an element yourself, ask them a question, or they gain +1 influence, or give them a bond. So so you clear an element, Chase, and then I think I will. I guess one of these options is ask them a question they must answer. Can't think of anything. I'm just going to take a +1 influence.
Sure. And Xin Ling, you're welcome to unmark an element of your choice.
I have unmarked water.
Sensible. So fire and water are available to you now. Xin Ling, how do you respond to this sudden realization that Six Finger Lament knows fighting styles that are designed to combat demons? Is this of suspicion to you, or alarming in any way, or is this just taken at face value?
I think I have no reason to distrust Six Finger Lament at this moment because he saved my brother and seems to be the only one being straightforward with me out of everything that's happened tonight. So I think when he hears this, Xin Ling is going to soak in the information and feel comforted by the fact that he is learning a way to further protect his brother from demonic presence, and maybe even think that these people may have been possessed, and that's why they suddenly turned or like was attacking people in this building. Like, he doesn't know what this building is. He doesn't know what happened. He just knew somebody was fighting Gentleman Bao-Yin and his brother got stabbed. He's like, obviously these people are possessed, and maybe even go further and think that Gentleman Bao-Yin is possessed and may want to try and save him.
Did Xin Ling saw a demon? Do I remember that correctly, or was that your shadow?
That was my shadow.
Okay. So maybe I'll ask Xin Ling. I'll say, look, obviously, you know, I'm wanted by multiple parties. Do you have any good ideas how we can get into the palace and find the demons and, you know, end their threat to you know, the palace?
I think the best way to draw out a demon is to give it a target that it wants.
Good idea. Looking at you meaningfully.
I nod very slowly.
So
Resolved in my role to play.
So I will shadow you. I will stick to the shadows, and when the demon makes its move upon you, I'll be there to help you.
Once my brother's to safety, I'll do whatever I can to rid the palace of demons.
Yeah, we left him with the Invincible 8. That might not have been the best thing. Although I guess the doctor was coming. Maybe the doctor arrived and then we left, you know.
Yeah. I would say the doctor comes by now, right? And just like I just direct this doctor, take my brother to safety. If anything happens to him, it'll be more than just you who disappears.
Yeah, so I think that we can assume that Han, at least for the time being, has been ushered to safety. And, you know, I think that at this point I want to. I'm kind of curious to hear how you make your next move here, Xin Ling. It sounds like you're almost trying to lay bait
Yeah.
for these demons. How do you want to do that?
I think by this time, because there's like a big fight, assumingly maybe I overhear like guards nearby, and the people at the same time, maybe catch a glimpse of the graffiti, and I'm just going to straight up assume that the general's the one that's causing demons to come, because now I'm thinking he's won all these battles. Maybe he's called upon demons to bring up his merits to like become the emperor and plot against me. So I am going to just bring myself to him and just kind of challenge him into why, like, he's spreading these lies to me about me when I know he's the one who is who is like he said pointing at each other, you did the demons, no, you did the demons, kind of thing.
Got it. Now, you probably don't have easy access to the general. I mean, do you just kind of walk in the palace at this point?
I think for getting in, Xin Ling looks over the Six Finger Lament and says, I have walked through the doors as a prince, but you may know other doors that I do not see.
Yeah, I could do my roll move that allows me to gain access to a protected person, location, or item. Should we try that? So again, through back tunnels and secret doors and whatnot, find our way to the general. Does it sound something we can do, David?
Yeah, that sounds reasonable.
Okay.
kind of the same way you did before. Now,
Yeah.
you still have been given the mission from the general to deliver Xin Ling's head on a platter.
Right. Yeah, I was thinking about it. I mean, we can talk about it after we're done, but like the inner conflict move is very interesting. It's unclear to me sometimes whether it's telling you how you're supposed to act or whether you just lose your cool or not. So since I got a hit on that, I'm assuming I'm biding my time. You know, I'm just, what the general's asking for me is so off the wall, given everything else I've seen, and then the greater danger of the demons is what I'm grasping on. I'm like, we need to take care of these demons, and then we'll see what happens with Xin Ling and the general. So that's kind of where I'm coming at from that whole thing.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. It's really kind of up to you at this point. I just wanted to remind you of that because you're literally bringing Xin Ling to the general.
Well, Xin Ling's taking himself to the general. I'm just following along. So actually, maybe, I mean, I guess you make it clear that you want to go to the general, and I'll say to you, Xin Ling, I'll say, look, the general's my master. He's not involved. He's at danger of these demons.
Are you sure? Because this feels like this is the general using demons to gain power in the court.
Well, I know the demon replaced or tried to replace Jade Serpent. I mean, it scares me to think that maybe the same might have happened to the general. Maybe you're right. Let's get to the general quickly, but give him a chance. He's a good man.
We shall see.
Okay, that's probably good enough. So yeah, I'll try to find a back way to the general then. I'll use. I kind of want this to fail, so I'm going to use. I'm a little frightened of what's going to happen, so I'm going to use metal. It's a -1, and I got a 6.
That was the correct choice of element then. So let me see here. On a miss, it turns out to be a trap.
Perfect.
Naturally. So I think that it's very clear that you, unknowingly, it sounds like will usher, Xin Ling kind of out into the room where the general would be. And what room is this? Is this the top of the tower where his chambers are, or is this in a separate court room?
I want it to be in like a throne room, maybe. I don't know. Lots of red and marble towers and a throne and a dais and all that. So yeah.
Sure. And I think that that's the point at which the two of you step out from behind the tapestry. And of course, there's a portcullis behind you, and now you can't go back the way you came. The room is undoubtedly filled. I mean, we're talking a small army of guards here, led, of course, by none other than General One Heng. The two of you are caught dead in this trap of innumerable guards led by their general. And perhaps Sister Serpent? Or are you off doing other things?
Yeah, Sister Serpent definitely has some other stuff going on right now.
Okay. So I think then that the general looks at the two of you and says, Xin Ling, I'm afraid you're under arrest.
That's preposterous. I have done nothing to be under warrant of arrest.
I think that he will say to you that his advisor, Sister Serpent, has evidence to the contrary. And he is making this move unilaterally to secure the sacredness, the divine right of the throne. You are to surrender yourself immediately or be taken by force.
So General, I must beg that you reconsider. Xin Ling is a powerful warrior, and that is exactly what we need at this time. There are demons running wild in this palace. We must find and defeat them. And then we will sort out the Game of Thrones later. But, I beg for you to reconsider. And I have a move called Emperor and His Brother. When you work to change the course of your own faction, make a roll. Does that sound like it's a good trigger?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, that's
Sure.
textbook.
All right. I think I'm going to go with, oh no, I burned wood. So I guess I'm down to earth or fire. I guess we will go with, I think I accidentally marked something when I shouldn't have. I'll sort it out, but I guess I'll roll with earth. I'm asking him to be cautious and to wait. So this is a +0. That's a 7. So on a 7 on this move, what do I get? There's a cost. Choose, you create a major obligation for your faction, you lose the trust of your leadership, or you reveal a dangerous secret about yourself. I think if it would fit, maybe I say, General, I've explained to Xin Ling that I have discovered a way to defeat these demons. I've mastered a style that I think can work against them. Would that count as revealing a secret about myself? Or would you do more than that?
Well, I think it would work if the secret was interpreted negatively. It's supposed to be a complicator.
I guess I'm going under the assumption if he's the bad guy, then I guess he knows now that I know, how to fight him. So then he can use it against me. I guess there's a lot of assumptions there. So again,
that makes sense. Sure. So maybe we can make that part of it. In some sense or another, it becomes apparent that this is the person who that you know a thing or two about how to fight the demons, and you reveal that you could pose a legitimate threat.
Right.
I think that's fine. And so your goal here is to what exactly? Delay the course of the arrest, or to avoid it, or what are you trying to ask for specifically?
I guess I'm asking him to let Xin Ling remain free until we overcome the demon threat, and then put their issues on hold until that's resolved, the demon issue.
I think he'll say that he's willing, and at the same time, Xin Ling is to be under constant surveillance until such time as the dawn arises. And in the meantime, if you're so aware of these techniques, Six Finger Lament, you are to surrender yourself into our care immediately, such that we may direct you towards these demons that you speak of, so that you may be the one to personally dispatch them.
Yeah, I'll look at Xin Ling, bow my head, and I'll surrender myself to the guards.
Xin Ling, what do you do?
Xin Ling is first offended that Six Finger Lament has trapped him here, obviously. Betrayed. I think Xin Ling is going to look at all the guards and go into custody. Can't take all of these people, but Xin Ling is not actually there, because I'm going to go ahead and use during the travel here, following Six Finger Lament, actually traded places with his shadow, knowing that this possibly could be a trap. And I'm going to go ahead and roll Wooder for my shadow ability, which is a +2. I'm also going to use my influence, which counts as another +2. Because I'm an heir, when I use 1 point of influence, it counts as a +2, I think.
I don't know that you can use influence on this particular move.
Oh, is it
I-
only for certain moves?
I think, yeah, you can use bonds for anything. Influence is, I believe, limited to game of court, social duel.
Oh, okay. That's fine. I still have a +2 from Witter. Oh. I got a 12.
All right, no influence needed.
On when I reveal in the scene that it's not me and my body double, on a hit, the revelation is a shock, and I can suddenly and unexpectedly appear or cut to a scene elsewhere than what I'm doing instead. And I think actual Xin Ling has taken the opportunity once seeing that they're trapped inside the main palace with all the guards to look for Harmonious Ivory.
Very well. Let's go to Bao-Yin then. I'd like to definitely get a final scene with you and then cut over to Harmonious Ivory and perhaps the actual Xin Ling. So Bao-Yin, I'm really curious what's going on with the reliquary here at this point. Or would you like me to her frame a scene here? It's up to you.
If you have something, go crazy.
What are you thinking of doing with the reliquary?
That's a good question. Bao-Yin feels like he's in less immediate danger now that he's gotten some heat off of him. But Bao-Yin is also not particularly, Bao-Yin doesn't care about this reliquary. So he's still trying to get rid of it to whoever wants it the most, right? At this point, it might be inadvisable to try and give it to the general since he has just started a campaign against the general.
Mm-hmm.
So just going down that ladder.
Got it. So I think that where might you be when you are contacted by a potential buyer of this reliquary that you possess?
I think Bao-Yin is walking in the street. He is in a part of town where there are a lot of street preachers, because he has this religious object. There might be collectors of religious curios around when he is approached.
Got it. So you have kind of the weird people of society out here. It's a lot of very kind of mystical, almost apocalyptic, like you said, street preachers. I imagine they're out in full force with the news that demons are now running throughout town and throughout the palace. And I think that is the point at which a old robed man with kind of long white hair, a beard that kind of is well groomed and it comes down to about chest length, eyes are visible and wrinkled, wearing this, like I said, kind of sky blue robe and wearing very elegant footwear. This is someone who seems to be of a background of wealth. It kind of comes to you, and he seems to recognize you, actually. He says, "Gentleman Bao-Yin, we have not met before, you and I, but I am curious to inquire as to the item that you hold in your hands. What is that?"
Bao-Yin Bao-Yin looks at the man. He says, "Oh, this is expensive, old man. It is a valuable piece. I do not show it lightly."
Well, perhaps this may change your mind. And he pulls from his robe a bag which he empties into his hand, and it contains a alarmingly large sum of money. This could essentially pay off any debt that you have. This could pretty much set you up in the finest living arrangements for years to come. You could probably retire off of what this person is presenting with you. It is a strange, suspiciously large amount of money that he's presenting to you. Would this be sufficient to draw your attention, gentlemen?
Bao-Yin says, let's talk somewhere quieter.
Ah, he says, emptying it back into the bag. It would be my pleasure. Lead the way.
Yeah, Bao-Yin leads him into a small shop. They sit down at a table. A man comes. The owner comes and he pours tea for both of them. And Bao-Yin, holds his cup and he still gestures to the man. He says, "Well, you have an offer for me."
I do. Your item in exchange for my money. And he places the bag before you.
Bao-Yin says, "Your money?
It is.
Or is it your master's money?"
He smiles with almost like a gleam, almost like a wink in his eye. I have no master.
Bao-Yin nods. He says, "Good. I like to deal with masters themselves." And he takes the reliquary and he puts it on the table. He does not let go of it, though.
It is a deal then.
It is a deal. I hope it is more useful to you than it was to me. And he lets go of the reliquary.
A pleasure doing business with you, gentlemen, he says, taking the reliquary into his robe and standing.
Yeah, Bao-Yin takes the money into his robe and he exits out the back.
As you see the man turn and walk away, something strikes your fancy, your intuition. It's surely a passing thought, but something about the way he walks is familiar. The footsteps
Yeah,
he takes.
Bao-Yin is going to study the man to see if he cannot place him in his mind, if he does not recognize him. Bao-Yin will do this with wood, curiosity.
Sure.
That is a 10.
You get 2 hold.
I am going to ask a question about a person. Who is this man? If that's too broad, I can narrow it. But
well, you're welcome to ask him. He'll tell you if you ask. We'll put it that way. If you want to roll.
Do I recognize? Do I know this man?
Well, you know his footwork. You fought him earlier this evening.
Okay, well, I assume it isn't cricket because I would know cricket. So it is the man who I dueled at Tax Collector Chow's home?
It is.
Okay. Well, I know this person's scale, in fact, so I don't have to ask that. I am going to ask if the man meets with anyone after he leaves.
Like, is there anyone who he's with as soon as he walks out the door?
Yeah,
You mean?
when he walks out. My study is, who does he go to with this reliquary?
Ah, good question. Well, There's no one immediately outside who he meets with. I don't think. I think that you would have to maybe follow him in some way in order to make that happen. You basically have to take off after him into the night. But he's solitary at this point.
Okay. Yeah, I'll follow him. Why not?
Okay, that sounds fair to me. Let's do a quick final scene between Harmonious Ivory and I believe the real Xin Ling. Harmonious Ivory, what you up to after the sledgehammer of a political play you made in the last scene?
Well, I have gone to try and arrange a private and secret meeting with Father Locust. I assume there's like some way I can, contact him to tell him that I need to meet. And
Sure, you have your
I-
ways. That makes sense.
I mean, I think I'm going to probably have a scene with Xin Ling before we get to that. But if the other thing that I'm going to do is collect the poison that I have prepared to put into Father Locust tea when we meet.
Of course. Would we like to do the scene with Xin Ling first? And I suspect I know where this is going, but maybe get the scene with Xin Ling through with first, and then perhaps end on some kind of cliffhanger?
Yeah, that sounds great.
Okay. So Xin Ling, you find Harmonious Ivory, if I understand correctly.
Yes, I went out to search for her, where I believe where I would find her in this moment in the palace halls. And once I see her, I am going to not call out to her, just walk over to her and dramatically grab her arm to turn her to face me. And I'm just going to say, "What have you done?"
I will turn towards you with tears, like not fully crying, but tears in my eyes. And this time, like not like you recognize now that those tears earlier were fake, but this is real emotion. And she says, "Don't you understand? I love you. I've always loved you."
This is 100% a shock to Jing. He's just like so shocked that he like slowly lets go of her arm, and goodness, what is he gonna do?
Well, can I follow up? I
Yeah.
think that I'll say, I understand that I am far below your station. I know that you could never return the love of someone as lowly as me. You needn't answer. You needn't dignify this with a response. All I ask is that perhaps in another life, if we ever were to find ourselves on equal footing, then you would consider me.
Harmonious Ivory. It is not about station that troubles the situation. It's the hidden secrets, the deceit and lies and the subterfuge that I've come to know from you in this night. And everything that I've known up to this point, I've wondered who else has plotted against me. Has it been you this entire time to gain my affections? Has it been this court who has dissolved me even further? What have you done here to get what you want?
It's both better and worse than you think. I did not conspire to gain your affection, but I have conspired against you. I suppose now the only thing is to be honest. I held a great and passionate hatred for your grandfather, Stone of the Heavens. I placed myself in your service that I might one day strike out at him. And it was only in seeing you day by day that I grew to love you and felt a deep conflict in my heart about what I must do. Well, actually, I think I do feel a deep conflict in my heart, so maybe I should roll that. Yeah. Let's see. I suppose that at this point I will have to roll metal. Come on. All right. Well, on a 7, what do I get on a 7 to 9?
For inner conflict, well, yeah, I mean, you get to mark XP for having rolled inner conflict. But other than that, you either must mark an element to maintain your composure or dramatically leave the scene.
I cannot mark any more elements, so I'm gonna just like run away before I can finish my dramatic confession. Oh, damn.
Xin Ling like reaches out like like but really did he have anything more to say other than why? I think he watches her run off, but still worried for her because they've known each other for so long. And now he's even more worried about his grandfather because this is the second time that somebody has mentioned him, 2 different parties, because when he meets up with the shadow, they exchange information. So now he knows the demon is also after his grandfather. So I think, are you running towards the direction where my family would live, like where my grandfather would be?
Well, I'm just running to get away. Like, I specifically want to get away from you. Like, that's the outcome of the move, I think. So, not towards your family at all.
Then I think after this, Xingli will finally confront his grandfather and see what he says about why these people are after him and monsters.
I want to have one very quick scene to set up the cliffhanger between Father Locust and Harmonious Ivory. So walk me through how that starts off, Harmonious Ivory.
So, I mean, I would like to go back to the pool that we established earlier, that where Harmonious Ivory goes when she needs to think. That's also where she secretly meets with Father Locust. And she is waiting by the pool when she, senses his presence and looks up, offers him one of the teas that she's poured, and thanks him for coming. Says that there's something that she must ask him before she goes through with what she must do.
Of course. He sits down and takes the tea. What is it?
Father Locust, surely there were simpler ways for you to kill your own father than this elaborate ruse and deception.
I'm sorry?
Did you think that I would not recognize you? Did you think that with all my experience of subterfuge and fakery and secret identities and disguise that I would not recognize the Emperor?
He is absolutely dumbfounded and speechless. How did you know? Who told you?
I learned from the best.
I see, he says, taking a sip of his tea. You must understand then, Harmonious Ivory, that we have much to gain should our plans succeed. I can propel you to any station, clearly, within the court. It is, there are no limits, no boundaries. I can do anything. If only we just follow through with the plan.
What of Tax Collector Chow? If I follow through, I'll be married to the dullest man at court. Did you ever think about how that would feel for me?
Harmonious Ivory, it is critical that you trust me. I have all the pieces I need now to see this through to the end, and you need not worry about tax collector Chow. Just trust me.
Well, I think that I have in a conflict again. My mentor and guide over all these years. All right, I'm gonna roll my inner conflict again.
Let's get one more. Yep.
Oh, that's a miss.
Oh boy.
I do not have enough bonds to bring that up to a mixed result, so things will get much worse.
So tell me, have you actually poisoned him?
Yeah, I think I
Okay.
have.
I think then that what simply happens is he leans into you and says, look, if you follow through with the plan, I will see to it that this kingdom is saved. There are forces innumerable at play this night, demons, things of a supernatural and terrible nature, but I have acquired the means to stop them. It is only a matter of time, and if you just trust me, I will tell you. You just have to trust. And then the poison is too strong. Father Locust falls to the ground, dead, and rolling out from his robe, the reliquary. And Bao-Yin was there to see all of it. Okay, we'll go ahead and wrap up there. I'll stop the recording. We'll do some quick stars and wishes and be done for the day.